Final Draft 12 is out. This is a really exciting software. Final Draft is what I consider kind of the gold standard of screenwriting softwares. There's a lot of them out there. I like Final Draft the best. I've already produced a video where I talked about why Final Draft beats the competition in my eyes. So what do you do when the best software gets an upgrade? You decide whether or not it's worth the money for that upgrade. But it's always good when the best gets better. So let's take a look at what's inside of Final Draft 12. Final Draft 12 adds a bunch of new stuff. Probably the most exciting of that is the Beatboard enhancement. The Beatboard is a really important part of Final Draft in general. It's kind of the planning tool and kind of the brainstorming tool in some ways. You put stuff there and you can create moments that you want, character notes, all that kind of thing. It's really good. But every now and then I have a problem with the Beatboard because I have all of my beats, but then maybe for space reasons and what I want to display on the screen, I have to put those beats out of order, or I want to put some beats together and I want to group them in some way, but I don't have a really good way of showing that other than maybe some color coding. In the new Final Draft 12, you can now add flow lines between the beats, and then you can create those in a linear fashion to connect together some beats and maybe make yourself like a plot outline. You can also use those arrows between characters to maybe show character interactions. Maybe you want to show those beats together, those characters together in a certain relationship to show like, oh, who likes whom. And you can also show those either direction or bi-directionally to show those feelings are reciprocated, or maybe they're not. The documentation and collaboration features of Final Draft 12 are also really good. The script notes are really helpful for putting in notes either to yourself or to somebody else. They work pretty simply. You just add a note in, it becomes persistent. Anybody can see that. The track changes feature is pretty handy for anybody who's used these kind of features in other software like Microsoft Word. It works pretty similarly in that you can create revisions and somebody else can accept them or reject them, or you can leave them for yourself to accept or reject. The only thing that I don't like here is that there's a little bit of a weirdness that you have to track all of the changes. And if you want to turn off the track changes feature, then you have to accept or reject all of the notes. And maybe you don't want to do that. There have been times when maybe I don't want to clutter up everything with those revision notes because I just want to get back to just like normal drafting, or I don't want to have those subject to that kind of review process. But I don't have a resolution on all of my previous revisions. So that's maybe a little bit of annoyance. It's not a deal breaker, but it definitely kind of detracts from the experience and it forces you into a very particular kind of workflow. Beyond that, there is a PDF import feature now. I haven't used that too much because I don't typically work with scripts that come in PDF format, but for those of you who it's useful for, that's probably pretty great. And then there's a focus mode. The focus mode is relatively simple. It just takes kind of that ribbon and the menu and it moves it away. I don't really find this focus mode super useful. In general, I don't find focus modes very useful because I like to have the user interface there. I'm usually not bothered by that busyness. Final Draft, though, does have a relatively busy interface. It's probably one of the most visually busy of any writing software I've used, other than maybe Scrivener when it gets really crazy. But you might find that helpful. I find the focus mode a little bit annoying myself because I find that going into it and out of it takes a little bit of time, and then it can do some things like resizing windows when you come out of the focus mode. So that can be annoying. In terms of pricing, the Final Draft 12 upgrade is $100. You can find it for $80. That's not too hard. If the question is that worth it? Obviously, that's a decision that everybody has to make for themselves. That said, if you're a professional and you're collaborating with a lot of people and you have tight timeline deadlines, I can see where a lot of the collaboration tools would speed up collaboration immensely. So if you're in that situation, it's probably a no-brainer. At even $100, you should definitely do it because that time is money and it's not going to take too much time being saved to make it worth that $100. Even that peace of mind, even that sense of like that quality of life upgrade of, hey, this is quicker, this is easier, is worth a lot of money. So definitely do that. Now, if you're a hobbyist, particularly a hobbyist who works alone, then it's a lot harder of a choice. I think the big thing you're going to be looking at there is, do you want the new Beatboard enhancements? I think that for a hobbyist writer, having the Beatboard there, having it able to show those relationships, being able to just be more information rich can be useful. Is it worth $80 or $100? That's a hard call. For some of you, it will be worth it. For a lot of you, it won't be worth it. So this is possibly one of those times when skipping Final Draft 12 makes sense, and then you want to go on to Final Draft 13. Whichever decision you make, I hope you're right, and I hope you write a lot.